Good morning, everybody. This is Bev of the Bev D Show. It is June 3rd, beautiful sunny day in Ohio, and I'm really glad to be back on the show live. I've done some offline recordings and such, but we have a lot to talk about. I've been keeping quiet about this. I do different things and sharing through Facebook, and people get really nasty sometimes, and that's just not necessary. So this is an opportunity for me to be able to talk about things, and you have to listen. Ha ha ha. So, but today is pretty cool. We have a special guest. His name is Sage Lewis, and he is back on the show. I had him on before, and I had some technical difficulties. And lo and behold, thank goodness, through technology, Sage was able to record that show on his phone. So that was pretty cool. I was pretty happy about that because it was a very good show. So I've shared that and such. But I want you guys to know a couple of things just about the show itself. This is a talk show that I've been wanting to do ever since I was a little girl and found out what a radio was. Little transistor I used to have, and I was fascinated by songs. Always was a rock and roller ever since I was 3 years old, and heard the Beatles and the Stones and all that good stuff. The British Invasion, they called it. But you know, the vibe is going to be changing a little bit because you have to do that. And with the times, you have to change, and you have to refresh, and you have to look at, you know, what's really in your heart, and what exactly, you know, am I doing with this show? And there were touch and go where, you know, I wasn't really expressing myself the way I would like to, and I was holding back. And that wasn't making me happy. And I love doing the show. I've got, 150 episodes out there, and we've got listeners all over the world that I'm very excited about, let alone within the United States. And was getting some messages from folks, you know, hey, why aren't you going live? You know, I talk about everything from sales tips and training and how to talk to businesses and things like that to, you know, getting up. How do you get up and get out of bed when you're depressed? Looking at some of the sad things and the positive things in the world. And I've got a really good guest that's going to uncover a lot of that with me. I really enjoyed talking with him the last time. I've got a host of things that I want to discuss. I've got some questions for him. Sage is a very special character, as he is pretty committed to making a change out there in the world. He's a voice for the homeless. And most recently, with our current state of affairs here in the United States, with the very, very unfortunate, just terrible. We all know what happened on May 25th to George Floyd. Just caused an avalanche of I'll go with it, of hate, emotion, crying, fear. It touches on them all, and we're looking for the goodness in these things, but it's really hard right now. We got a lot of people, including myself, that are pretty upset in the universe, and Sage is definitely one of them. So, Sage, welcome, and thank you very much for joining me again.
Beverly, thank you so much for letting me be with you again and have a chat.
Yeah, we'll call it a chat.
I love it. I love it.
You know, we're Facebook buddies, and I watch a lot of what you do and what you're posting and the activities you're doing out there. And, you know, one of the things that I'm very passionate about is learning more about the homeless community. What can I do just beyond talking about it? But, you know, I want to start, before we get into some of the other activities that have been going on, the protests and such, how did this all affect your homeless community that you are close with? I mean, you know, I saw a guy, I think it was in Los Angeles, these rioters set a homeless man's mattress on fire. So talk to me about this.
They light up homeless people all the time. They burn their tents, they beat them up, they abuse them, and those are just the physical atrocities. It's perhaps that's I heard.
Whoops, lost you, buddy. Hang on. Oh, there
Torturing
you are.
homeless people is nothing new in America. We do it all the time.
Yeah, and I want to spend some time on that. Elaborate on that. I know the last time we were talking, you had some changes. I saw on Facebook there was some positive change. I guess somebody set up even a porta potty for these folks. I don't know. I need to be.
Yes.
I need to be educated in this. So
Sure.
take it away.
Yeah. So that is a huge tectonic shift in Akron, Ohio. That a homeless camp received a porta potty and a hand washing station provided by the Summit County Continuum of Care. And that is massive because there was an article in the Akron Beacon Journal here, our local newspaper, about a month ago. And, I don't know if you remember because everything is happening so intensely and so fast, but about a week ago, we were all obsessed with coronavirus. And the CDC had put out very clear specifications about how cities were to deal with homeless people as far as the pandemic was concerned. And they listed things, and they said very clearly, they said whether it is a sanctioned homeless camp by the city or an unsanctioned homeless camp in your city, you must provide porta potties, hand washing stations, trash service, and you must not move these camps during this time because it'll spread this virus. And there was an article in the Beacon Journal that said very clearly, they said, well, we'll bring a hand washing station, but we're not going to bring a porta potty because, I quote, they said it would encourage them. It would encourage them.
Because that's what you want to do as homeless.
Yeah, because, toilets are encouraging. And so we have now made toilets like little dog treats for homeless people. Do you want a toilet? Do you want a toilet? Well, come over here, little homeless person, and get in our little building, and then you'll get a toilet. Literally, that's the mindset that we should not, like they're rats, like they're raccoons, that these people we're encouraging them. Don't feed the rats is exactly what they're saying. And so what I'm telling you is the fact that we got a porta potty at a homeless camp in Akron, Ohio is massive. It is a huge, huge change in policy. And so we cannot underestimate the importance of this. We have to applaud the action and the change of thinking that homeless people are people and they deserve, I'm not saying they deserve a house. I'm not saying that this is not government money. Well, I mean, I don't know where. Let me say it this way: the Summit County Continuum of Care is not a city organization. They are a private 501c3 charity, like all of us, and they provided it.
Wow.
They provided it, and it's massive. And on top of that, just I think yesterday, the city of Akron, the mayor's office, posted about it on their Facebook page, which is also amazing, that they would applaud the work of providing a toilet to homeless people. I'm telling you, it's massively important that this happened, and it's awesome. It is awesome.
I'm going to say that is amazing news, and we know that's a step in the right direction. Share with me how the coronavirus had something to do with that. Is this the timing of that, or have we been fighting for years for a porta potty?
I've always wanted a porta potty. I mean, one of the nice things when we had our tent city on my property was we had 2 porta potties, and we had multiple bathrooms indoors, and we had hand washing stations. outdoors and showers and running water inside. So it's massive. Like, so, you know, you can abhor and hate homeless people and still want people to not shit in the woods and on the streets and in parking garages. You don't have to like a homeless person at all to agree that is bad for all of our society. Okay? You don't have, I would hope that a person with common sense can agree that people shouldn't be shitting on our streets. I just hope that, like, we don't need to re-educate people on the importance of not living in the Middle Ages anymore. That toilets are a health issue for all society. So this has been a topic for years.
Yeah.
And the only reason it has come up is because of coronavirus. Coronavirus was finally this thing, and HUD and the CDC both were sending very clear, specific recommendations. They were not laws, they were not mandates, recommendations of what cities were supposed to do with their homeless population, and it's black and white. It's not gray, it's not vague. It is provide toilets, provide clean water, provide trash service, provide a hand washing station. Those are the words. And so finally, someone in authority got the guts to stand up and say, we need to stop allowing American citizens to rot on our streets with no fundamental hygiene.
Yeah.
And coronavirus did it. So thank you, coronavirus. Thank you, coronavirus, for finally moving us one notch further down the road of humanity.
Well, you know, you and I talked about this the last time we were together, and you're mentioning humanity and how we're treating humans and that sort of thing, and it brings, you know, to light. I will merge into current events that, you know, by the way, coronavirus did, you know, she was a star. Where is she now? Not even, you know, barely getting mentioned. You know, I was thinking about, I was really looking forward to talking today, and I was thinking about, you know, how do you and I, because we're both fiery people, how do we even uncover and discuss the things that we want? And one of the things that came to my mind, and while I am not a conspiracy theorist, I am this person. You know, I look at humanity, and we talked about this the last time, as a family. And if I grew up in a house of 9 with 1 bathroom, it was insanity, anarchy, especially because I was the youngest and I was watching all these teenage brothers and sisters just fight over this bathroom. Not because they had to go, but because that's where the mirror was. That's where you got ready for your date. You know, all this kind of stuff. You're taking all this kind of stuff. So in order to, I actually wrote about this, that my mom and dad had 7 little countries, and each one had different personalities and different thoughts and different ways and means about them. And when I was kind of overviewing, if we look at humanity as a family and in Bev's little brain, I was thinking about, you know, in a family, somebody gets suspended from school for smoking. Somebody sets a field on fire because he's a crazy teenage boy, gets brought home by the police. Somebody, you know, so I started listing these things out. And if you look at December to now, at our family, and you look at the United States, of course, we went through the whole impeachment thing. We didn't even get past that. Boom. Coronavirus. Now, they've been talking about coronavirus saddling up with the impeachment since December or November, I think, is when they actually. So this timeline is, you know, year-endish. And then the next thing you know, everything happens in January. And then the coronavirus is real. And we're figuring out what in the world to do with that in February. And then March 15th,